So I'm in the back of the room, 1 hour conference, and I'm listening to him. This guy he flew some supersonic fast airplane. And what he did was he went over the enemy positions, drew fire, and then other airplanes coming behind would then attack the position. So the guy was crazy brave. He was a
Yeah.
rascal. I mean, you just look at him and hear him, just like, it's the kind of dude you always want to be.
Yeah.
Like if I was I'd want to be like that guy. And he was just, the dude's my hero. So he got shot down and he spent 5 years in a prisoner of war camp. And his call sign
Jeez.
was Misty.
Yeah.
His call sign was Misty, and he wrote a book called, I think, Misty 13 or Misty 30 or Misty. It's a great book, but he's talking about what happened to him in the prisoner of war camp. And
Yeah.
he talks about his buddy, I think his buddy's name was John. And Guy Gruder said there's two things you have to do if you want to survive in a prisoner of war camp. You have to eat and you have to go to the bathroom. You have to defecate. Eat, defecate, eat, defecate. That's it. And if you don't do those two things, you're done. And that's your life. And I'm sitting back there listening to him tell these stories. And people beside me were going like this,
Yeah.
covering their ears and looking down. And my jaw's dropping. I'm like, holy cow. But he tells this story of his buddy. I think his name was John. And John wasn't eating, so he wasn't going to the bathroom. And they
Yeah.
said to him, John, dude, you need to eat. You need to eat your rice. And he's like, I'm not hungry. I don't really feel it. I'm okay. Tomorrow, I'll eat tomorrow. So the next day comes and they say to him, eat, John, and John doesn't eat. And they're like, tomorrow you have to eat, because if you don't eat, you're not going to go to the bathroom and you're going to die. You need to do this. So on the third day, they brought in the maggoty rice, gave him his bowl, and said, okay, eat. And he said, I'm not hungry. So they grabbed him, they pulled him into the corner, stuck a finger into his throat, and had him throw up in a bucket. And he threw up that much of worms. So
Oh
the bucket
God.
was full of little squirming worms all inside there. But
Jesus.
his buddy was still coughing. And then they noticed that they could see worms. So they reached into his throat and they pulled worms out. And I'm
Jesus.
watching, I'm hearing this story, and Guy Gruder holds his hand up and said, oh, yeah, the worms were from my fist all the way down to my elbow, and they were
Oh my
wrapping
God.
around it. And he said, I thought two things. Number one, I'm in a nightmare. I'm
Yeah.
living in a nightmare. And number two, if he has them, I have
He,
them.
yeah, for sure.
And then he said there are worse stories than these that I cannot tell you. And I cannot
God.
believe what he's saying.
Yeah.
So he ends the talk, and here's the moral of the story. He ends the talk, and this is what changed my life. He ends the conversation by saying, and I can't do it as well as he did it. He's not a big man, he's a slight man, but he has a presence. But he was shaky in his voice. So it was like I felt like he's still dealing with it, but it wasn't as if he just dismissed it as no big deal. But he said, every day I wake up and I say to myself, I would never wish this on anyone and I would never want to do this again. However, every day I give thanks to God because by going through this, I have become a better man.
Boom.
And I was
Yeah.
like, are you kidding me? And my
Yeah.
jaw dropped. And I remember looking at people like, did you hear him? No, did you? And then I
Yeah.
thought to myself, I just went through, not just went, but I went through domestic abuse. I went through troubled times. I went through difficult times, but nothing like him. And here he is on the stage telling people.
Yeah.
And the moral of the story that I took personally out, and the story that I share with people, and the reason why I tell the story to everyone, is that suffering in life is not the worst thing. It's not. The worst thing in life is suffering without meaning. So the moment I heard him say that, I was like, oh, I can talk about my life now because I will do and try to find some meaning in it, in which it will be where I become a better man or I help other people to become better people.